Hello and welcome to the Churros y Tácticas Podcast. It is Monday. It is churros time. We are recording this on the back of another eventful weekend in La Liga with, again, lots of goals. Would have been more probably if Atletico Sevilla took place, but it was postponed due to record rainfall. Don't know anything about it because the Bernabeu had a roof, so we didn't run into that problem. So, Real Madrid leaders. Bellingham continues to be the poster child of the league right now. Another game winner in dramatic fashion against the Thug FC. I'm fully on board. I messaged Diego on the weekend. I said, I don't care if I don't care what Xavi says against that team. He can say whatever he wants. I'm on board. Whatever you want to say about that team, especially after this Greenwood signing, it just these guys relegate to Segunda, Tercera, and send them to Antarctica. I'm done with that team. So Barca, of course, their own dramatic win. The big two are going toe to toe with each other. Let's welcome in Diego Lorijn. Diego, how's the spreadsheet looking this weekend?
Oh boy, should we do that? Like I said it.
Not now. No, I guess. Huh?
It would be easy for me to backtrack. Trust me, but. I feel like I'm seeing comments out there. This one's for your spreadsheet. I'm feeling like I said it. You know, I have a lot of my time keep spreadsheet of the injustices that we witness in La Liga was jokingly, half-heartedly said, and I don't necessarily want to make that time that I need to invest in unless, you know, this is really going to be something serious. And you're like, okay, you know what? Let's go over today's spreadsheet. It's Monday, and then we do that. You want to do it?
No, I absolutely do not want to do it. I don't want to do it. It sounds like a nightmare.
I think our viewers would love it. I think a good portion of our listeners or viewers would love it if we do it, just so they can spew shit at me and
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And if all I'm going to get out of it is like people telling you to change host and you can get better Barca journalists.
The same people who are the first people to click play on the podcast.
Probably.
The people don't actually tell you what they want.
Definitely, yeah. Well, you know, there were definitely spreadsheet moments. There were penalty calls, non-penalty calls, red cards handed out both in the two games that I observed, which were, of course, Barca and Madrid related. I'm sure you have something to say, or maybe not, that took place in Osasuna over in El Sadar, I should say, against Osasuna, and what took place over in the new Bernabeu, the lata de anchoas, the anchovy can, that is the new Santiago Bernabeu.
It's a spaceship.
It's a spaceship. All right. Well, for a person that wholly believes in the space odyssey and UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrial beings, that being you, I was surprised that you said that there could have been more goals in La Liga and then not mention the fact that Soria, as he often does against the big teams, had one of the games of his life and prevented Madrid from scoring more. Because I felt that he single-handedly kept Getafe in the game. And, you know, this one, I think on a normal day and another day would have turned out to be pretty easy pickings for a Madrid that, despite without a number 9, still generates a lot of chances, at least against Getafe. So I was, I guess, surprised, or merit needs to be given to David Soria for keeping Getafe in it for so long, and Bellingham needing, again, heroics and extra time, the 95th minute to score the winner.
Ironically, spilled it also, that it was the Vasquez shot goes to Soria. Soria spills that one. I guess I'm just desensitized to whatever opponent we play has their goalkeeper has the game of their life. I'm desensitized to that. Meanwhile, when that same goalkeeper plays against Barca, they just melt into a puddle.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it is true. It is absolutely true.
That is another bullshit. But Why does it keep saying that my microphone is plugging in and out?
Well, because that literally happened twice.
Yeah, okay, but is the audio still coming in fine?
Yeah, I mean, well, when it cut out, we lost you for a split second, and then you came back. So,
okay.
Yeah,
I need to, as you know, some of the viewers might not know, who have recently tuned in. I snapped this off when the season got going. So the first, let's say, official churros of the season, I got overly excited and went snap. So this is useless now. I just need to find a new mic stand or to connect this somehow to the arm.
You're just, it's hanging by a thread. You're holding it now and it's waving in the air. And next thing you know it, you'll be that part will fall apart and you're going to have to be upside down. And
so you're not going to hear me, or I'm not going to hear you rather, as I bring the headphones closer to the webcam. This is melted. So my headphones were literally melting away as I had them hanging from the microphone stand, and the light here was on. And after a good, I don't know how much time, but a good amount of time passed where I was like, it smells like burnt plastic. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing just smoke coming off of my goddamn headphone. So it's still working, but yeah, everything is literally by a thread working. It's giving me constant problem.
It just happened again. What an incredible churros experience. This is the
what a professional.
Growing up, Diego, it was always ingrained in me because of the way my family was. You really, really go to the extremes to take care of your stuff, and you milk it and milk it and milk it. My dad still uses this same stuff for 30 years. If it works, it works. You don't upgrade unless you have to. You save every penny you can, and
like that.
And as I got older, for example, this Yeti mic that's in front of me right now is new. The old one was really, really hanging on by a thread to the point where I was recording podcasts.
I remember
with one
very frustrating
and holding it like this. Yeah, so you remember. So I was eventually I was like, okay, this thing's got to go. But it took me a lot because I was raised that way. And it's funny because really, my cousin, he hates me for this. He's like, dude, especially my Mac is from 2015. He's like, dude, you're a podcaster. You're on YouTube. You're doing all this cool shit. You can't be living in the Stone Age. I'm like, dude, I can't detach myself. It's a problem. It's a bit of a crutch because I'm a little bit too extreme about it. There's probably a middle ground where because when you do upgrade, you're like, oh, this is nice, right?
This is so nice.
It's really nice.
So nice.
It was worth it. But
I remember the last days of your microphone too. You were in Madrid, and we couldn't already record properly because of the connectivity issues. And then you got connected, and you were fucking with the mic.
It was the U.S. tour, which eventually that was the nail in the coffin. It just It was nothing saving it. No,
that was the tour.
Not even the hand of God could have held that one together.
Yeah. The touch of God.
Back to the spreadsheets for a second.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember which La Liga team it was. I was watching a La Liga team this weekend or this week. I can't believe I don't remember what team it was. Maybe it was Granada. I don't know why I want to say Granada. They got screwed with a call. Their opponent, I think, scored an offside goal. And even after the VAR review, it counted. I'm like, wait a second, that was a terrible call. And it dawned on me that no one will ever know this happened. It's because it's a small team, no one cares about them. No one wants to write a headline in Marca or Sport about this team getting screwed by the ref. No one on social media was talking about because no one was watching the game except my nerdy ass. And it's this was my point. I'm like, everybody gets screwed. The refs suck. Stop. And yes, the past 24 hours, I don't know if you've been on Twitter, but because of what happened in the two big games, it was just the thing that happens where Madridistas and culés start fighting on Twitter about who gets screwed more. I'm like, you guys have no idea how stupid you both sound. Stop it. You guys are like children. The refs suck. There is no conspiracy against your team. Let me repeat that. There is no conspiracy against your team. You remember all the times you got screwed and all the times you benefited from the referee. You filed it away in the do not remember file. So now you have tunnel vision. And now you're fighting with the other team fans who have that are doing the exact same thing. And now you're fighting. Now you're on Twitter. And now you're on an anonymous profile, just typing away, saying, oh, Madridistas think they can talk about the referee. Let me pull out the compilation. Culés think they can talk about the referee. Let me talk about the compilation. That's all that happens every time there's a bad call. The refs suck. They all suck. That's all I wanted to say. Diego's like, no, F you, man. There's a conspiracy.
I disagree. I respectfully disagree. I do think that there is mingling, and obviously Madridistas will scream out Negreira.
Of course.
But I do think that there's mingling. Mingling, is that the right word?
Interfering
with the refereeing committees. And dude, I'm sorry, I definitely think that there is corruption there, bribery there, that takes place or has taken place for sure. And we don't even need to dig that hard. I mean, at the top of my mind, there's this Villarejo person that was brought onto the stands where he talked about the Spanish Football Federation, how La Liga, Javier Tebas, and anyways, that basically he went on this rant where he had to be stopped by the judges there from talking, because he said something along the lines of Madrid being involved in like un lío, like some sort of scandal with the referees, but nobody told him to investigate it, or rather, they told him to stop to investigate it.
So that's all it took for you to believe that there's a conspiracy where Real Madrid are paying the referees. You told me you don't have to dig deep. That's the amount of digging you did. Because
there's so much footage. There's actually so much footage of referees themselves, like coming out and talking about these phone calls that they got to sort of, be. I don't want to use like.
And yet the only
I don't want to say the word like intimidated, but yes, I mean, it's undeniable that people are out there and making these confessions. Now, can we point at them and call them all liars? Sure. If you want to believe that they are liars, you're going to point at it and call them liars because you'll say there's no proof. It's on the basis of what? Well, it's on the basis of these people, their accounts, things that they themselves have witnessed.
Well, it sounds a lot like the UFOs. With all these whistleblowers,
sure,
have no proof of anything.
Fine. And until we are able to investigate, I guess we'll never, find the full truth.
One piece of evidence, and that's Negreira was paid for 20 years. That's the only piece of evidence we have of anything. And then if you go back and you look at, let's see what happened when Negreira was in charge, and you look at these numbers. Okay, this team got this many red cards and that many, and then you go from year to year and
I'm not claiming, and like I've never claimed, that Barca is squeaky clean in this refereeing corruption that is, I think, taken place way longer than we can even imagine. But I think some team does it better than other teams. And do the little ones suffer the most? For sure.
The little one's poor. The little one no one cares about. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I saw that Granada won against Mallorca. So was it Mallorca getting screwed?
It wasn't. I didn't watch Granada versus Mallorca. Let me actually go and look at my see what I watched, and I'll tell you probably which game it was. It was in. I think it was it must have been Real Sociedad's win over Granada. on Saturday.
Okay.
Real Sociedad scored a goal, and it was clearly offside, even in the VAR. And I was like, okay, well, they're just going to have to disallow because VAR was reviewing it. And I think that made it 4-1. They ultimately lost 5-3. Kubo masterclass in that game, by the way. Incredible performance. He's really developed.
So he's back on the map big time, isn't he? He's started off the season, I mean, in spectacular form. His best form, you could say, under Imanol, like, you know, during his time with Real Sociedad. The thing that bothers me, and I think that I would imagine Real Sociedad fans or you know, fans of any other team where their player starts, you know, becoming the hot shit in town, is like immediately there are now talks of him, of course, going back to Real Madrid, or players. I mean, if Ansu does great, going back to Barca. It's got to be frustrating because yes, he is still. I mean, you have 50% of his rights, if I'm mistaken, and also a buying option of a set amount.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I mean, before we even entertain that thought, let Real Sociedad enjoy what is the best version of Takefusa Kubo that we've seen so far, at least the most consistent. And I think that's really encouraging. The fact that he's becoming also a mature player, it also goes to show just how young he was when he was, you know, put on the scene, on the map as just a very, very good, talented player that at the time didn't renew his contract with Real Madrid, or Barca, I should say. Real Madrid was very quick to pick him up, and now we're also potentially doing very good business with him because you still have that option out there. He's at a team that favors his football, and that has given him the consistency and minutes as well to continue to progress and shine into the very exciting football talents that we have here in La Liga.
I totally, like, I've already seen Real Sociedad fans think about, like, oh, every time we get a nice player, like Odegaard was amazing for them, right? And he left. And now Kubo has obviously contributed really nicely for them so far. And there's this anxiety that he will leave. At least for their sake, Odegaard was on loan. Real Sociedad actually has some rights to Kubo. It's a little bit different. But they didn't really get compensated for Odegaard. Hey, let's you know, in some level be optimistic. Real Sociedad is not a tiny club. And when you look at Real Madrid, it's going to be hard, no matter how good he plays right now. It's going to be kind of hard for him to break through, like, right? So maybe a Real Sociedad type club is the best career move for him. Maybe.
Would you like to see him come back to Madrid, or is it one of those cases where you're so stacked and deep there that just for his sake even, you'd rather see him play more minutes at a different club?
Well, I think Real Madrid's solution to the right wing with regards to a Kubo-like profile who is left-footed, who can play as a 10, who is very creative. That's why they signed Arda Güler. They hope that that's the guy. And obviously he hasn't played yet and he's injured and we don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back from his surgery. But, you know, if he turns out the player that they hope they sign, it's going to be really hard for Kubo to find minutes. Not only because it's not just Güler, obviously. You know, Rodrigo and Bellingham are both playing as attacking midfielders right now. Then you got like some of the more fringe players like Brahim Diaz. We got good academy players. So I don't know, but I'm a big fan of Real Madrid doing this new thing the last few years where they don't loan players, but they sell them with buyback. It gives great incentive to the club to develop the player because now it's not just a loan. And it leaves the door open, like with Fran Garcia, to bring him back if another club tries to trigger it. One thing I wanted to say about Kubo is that watching him over the years, the talent was undeniable. His touches are so silky and smooth. His turns on the ball, his first touch, just really fun to watch. but it was always the final pass, the final shot that he kind of just would panic and make the wrong thing. And I feel like that's the part where he's really come good. He's really improved in that aspect. And I think he looks really great. And man, Real Sociedad on paper are really, that attack with Oyarzabal and Kubo, it's a really fun team to watch. Obviously with Tierney now too, that's a nice signing for them. It's good. I also wanted to just share one more thing with you before we get into the meat of the podcast.
Can you imagine if they still had Isaac on this team as well?
Isaac, Odegaard would be, yeah. David Silva, who's obviously gone, retired. I'm happy to report that I skipped the Arsenal versus Manchester United game in favor of watching Leipzig versus Union Berlin.
So you saw my boy.
I saw Xavi Simons. He looks fantastic, man. He looks great.
Yeah, he's been on fire, man. You should have seen him last year in the Eredivisie as well. Just with PSV, he had an excellent season. It's quite heartbreaking. I talk about these cases where just now, like with Takefusa Kubo, where for Real Sociedad fans, it must be quite discouraging to already have to read about the potential interest of Madrid getting Takefusa Kubo back. Well, in the same case, you have to feel for PSV fans that where Xavi Simons, he became a fan favorite and an idol very quickly in the Eredivisie as he's just grown into this very powerful, let's not call him a mature football player, but certainly growing into that phase where he's going to start peaking very soon, right? I mean, you talk about making the right decisions, also being more brave and daring, trusting in your skills and feeling that you're physically able to go toe to toe with these heavyweight defenders, let's say, or, more aggressive defenders that are maybe outweighing you. Now, in the case of Xavi Simons, I mean, he's stronger than ever. He's more confident than ever. And when he was plucked away by PSG, of course, activating that buyback clause, and again, smart business on their part, they did what they had to do, given their contractual situation of between them and the Simons camp. So, and then sold him off to Leipzig. And I think also, I mean, in terms of team fit, a good choice. I say that. And at the same time, I said the same thing or at least I thought the same thing for Ilaix Moriba at the time. I thought that he would become a good player there. I mean, obviously each case is different. In the case of Ilaix, it hasn't worked out at Leipzig, a team that I think is very suited to offensive players, creative players. They put more of an emphasis on creation, on ball possession, on ball movement, circulation, and offensively, I think he's a very and proving already to be a very good fit. So happy for Xavi. Excited to see him with the Dutch national side during this break now as he continues to grow. And hopefully, if he does continue to grow, why not bring him back home one day to what was supposed to be his destiny, and that was to become a superstar at Barca.
Is he? Do you have any rights remaining on him, or you'd have to buy him back, like a normal club?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first time I've actually seen him play a full game. I'm obviously not watching Eredivisie, so I didn't know. I've heard some good things about him, and I only tuned into that game to watch Union Berlin, who I came away underwhelmed by, but was mostly just interesting to see how much responsibility Leipzig give Xavi Simons. Like, he wasn't just a bit part young player, like kind of shy. Like, he was a focal point in, influential to their build up. He's taking all the set pieces. He scored an incredible goal. I don't know if you saw. He also had a really nice assist where he's dribbling in transition and makes the less obvious pass. Looks really good. I was impressed. Very impressed with him.
Well, I'm happy. And you see, how do you see that team, Leipzig itself? I mean, they're a good fit. He's a good fit. Obviously, It's early days, but right now, you think that his qualities are
Yeah, it is. Quite frankly, I think Leipzig are a little bit scary, actually. Like, they look really good. And between him and Olmo,
Almost still there, of course. Yeah.
there's a lot of just fluidity and unpredictability. And Marco Rose plays this like really narrow formation, but on the field, it just looks a lot different than it looks on paper. And there's just a lot of moving parts, and it's very dynamic, very, very dynamic. Fun to watch, fun team. So let's get to the juicy stuff. El Sadar, not an easy place to play for anyone ever. It's a tough game for Barca. I knew that no matter how much Osasuna grinded out and they look like they might steal it, it was never going to be, because Barca always wins. How were you feeling during this one?
Not comfortable. Not comfortable. We know how tough El Sadar is. Arrasate's work there with Osasuna, it's nothing new in that we know just how strong he is, how good of a coach he is, rather, how adaptable he is as well, meaning Osasuna is a selling team. He is a coach that has to get used to every season seeing players come and go, and still he manages to make of El Sadar such a fortress. And I say that despite the fact that, of course, in the Conference League draws, or matches rather, to qualify for the Conference League, it was very much let down by his home matches, and the home form wasn't that we are used to. But yesterday was one of those nights where El Sadar is a tough ground, just nitty gritty, grinding football, where you leave with blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, did you see Gavi's ear? Mm-hmm. The stitches he got?
Yes,
ouch.
I did. Yeah.
So we knew that we were going to have to grind this one out. Look, not a match that was easy for Xavi by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. I know that many will still criticize Xavi for what we're seeing from this Barca. Offensively, it's not a performance where you take away many conclusions or many positive, takeaway points in that regard, other than the fact that we won. The result went our way. It could have gone either way. I think a draw wouldn't have been a surprise neither. Historic night. We got our third penalty call in 53 games. So that was, definitely something to celebrate. And the fact that Lewandowski scored the goal as well with his penalty style taking technique that, quite frankly, doesn't ooze off like the most confidence. I don't know if you saw Haaland over the weekend, but his penalty taking kicks, it's kind of like Memphis. Memphis is another one. It's just missile. Although I know I saw him recently try to Panenka it and completely, mess that one up. But it's just boom. Like, if you just have the technique to consistently rocket that thing into the top corner, then you should do that. I think like any other technique.
When in doubt.
Just,
have you ever seen Roberto Carlos take a free kick? I mean, a penalty kick?
I mean, of course. Yes. Not recently, but back in the day. And just do that. What is this odd, like, I mean, also at the time where he had to take it, with the clock winding down, it's crunch time, and he's going for the hop, shimmy, pop it, went in on this occasion. It
works. Whatever.
Not all the time. Anyways, that aside, look, it wasn't a game where we saw much from Lamine that we have seen in the opening 3 match days. But honestly, and sorry, I have to circle back to the point that I was trying to make. I give more credit to the back line, to the defensive abilities of Osasuna, that, it's a different, it's a different approach than what we see from Bordalas and Getafe, where that they use much more of the dark arts to halt the opponent from winning. Whereas, yes, Osasuna is playing more defensive football than a Barca, but defensively, I think they just put in more of a admirable performance, if you will, for a team with a tighter budget, with a more humble starting lineup than the offensive powerhouse that is Barca or can be Barca. I thought the Barca 3 in the middle were good. I continue to like what I see from Gundogan. Yes, we lost, or Petty is out, but we've gained just a very experienced, very talented football player in the midfield there with Gundogan, who I think is a seamless fit and continues to link up well with De Jong as well. That is monstrous. I think he won the MVP award, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday. Fully deserved as well. He's been probably the best player along with Lamine so far this season for Barca. Encouraging what we're seeing from Oriol as well. Of course, a different player from a Busquets. So, you have him in a pivot there, in a pivot position where he has big boots to fill, but I think he does a good job, an admirable job, certainly, as I expect him probably to rotate that role with Frenkie de Jong as well once Pedri starts coming back. But yeah, not a game where we saw much, say, from the flanks, right? Like the wingers, as Xavi likes to use them, they were not able to stretch out or find much space to be creative and have an impact offensively. So, even Koundé's goal came from a set piece, right? Yeah, my main takeaways are those. Also, again, and finally, just a mention for Balde as he's back as well. Not a game, of course, where we saw much from him, offensively at least, and the debuts of the Joaos I thought was good, encouraging. I loved seeing Cancelo come in, and I was quite surprised to see Joao come in. I had an inclination when Sergi Roberto was, of course, mentioned on the left, on the right flank, on the right back position, that we would see minutes for Cancelo in the second half, and he got like a good, more than half hour. I think he was around the 60th minute mark, whereas Joao Felix was in the final, stretch of the game in the 80th something minute. But happy to see these two, or certainly in the signing of Cancelo, seeing him come join the team. And sorry, Kiyan, I'm gonna let you in right here. That there was one more thing I wanted to mention. We saw Inigo, of course, as well. Interesting to see Rafinha being kind of low down the hierarchy, the pecking order now. So we might see competition now between Joao Felix, Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, of course, and there's some competition now. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see this team progress. I'm happy we're picking up the points. Naturally, of course, keeping up the pace with Madrid. But Xavi still has a lot of work to do, and he knows it. He was very self-critical after the match.
It's true that you didn't create that many chances in this game. The main one, apart from the penalty, was the Lewandowski miss in the very first minute of the game, which was, I feel like Lewandowski 2 years ago would have buried that blindfolded, but generally speaking, Barcelona have had no problems creating chances. They lead all of Europe in XG, the top 5 leagues anyway.
That's an astonishing stat. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah, They've created, I think their XG is 10. And how many goals have you guys scored? I don't remember that part of it, but like Real Madrid in comparison have created 8 XG, which look, we're 4 games in. None of this really matters. We need give us a month of sample size to at least see a pattern to really talk about what's real and what's not. It's probably too soon to talk about it that way, but I like what Osasuna did in this game. I like Arrasate, but I feel like when you bench Budimir and Chimy, you've already admitted defeat, and that part irks me. Like resting your best players because you're like, oh well, like a lot of teams do this, man, right? They look at Barca on the schedule, they're like, well, that's an L, so let's play our best players in the other games. We'll rest against the team that's giving us an L. They bring him on in the second half. Chimy Avila is amazing. Budimir is one of the best aerial threats in the league. And Chimy comes in, obviously scores an amazing goal. Like, we all know what Chimy can do. Let these guys in from the beginning. That part drives me nuts a little bit. You don't want to. I'm happy not to talk about referees, but I just want to say that
it's not fun.
You don't want to bring up referees this weekend, and we both know why. But you wanted to bring it up last weekend. I just wanted to point that out. I don't really want to bring it up ever, but you don't want to talk about it this weekend because it doesn't fit what you're saying, right?
Oh God, dude! Can you repeat that last thing you said?
Are we going no mic now? Micless?
It's given up. It's given up. I have not caught anything you just said, and yeah.
Let's move on. I said Diego Lorijn is awesome. He never talks about referees. There's no need to start now. Well,
talk about it. What do you want to know? The Lewandowski penalty, the red card?
No, I'm just like, you didn't bring it up this weekend, but you brought up referees in past weekends because some things fit the story, some things don't. I'm happy to never bring it up, but I'm wondering if you wanted to bring it up this weekend. And we don't have to.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. Like I said, can you hear me?
Yes.
Let me start with, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
We can. Yeah.
And I'm coming through now. Okay, back on video. Okay. So the penalty on Bobby Levy for me was the right call. You see that there's a clear tuck and un agarrón, right? A grab. Not only that, even though the referee what he put in his book was that the penalty call was for the grab, which is why he handed in the red card as well. I think the referee could have gone a step further and pointed out the tackle as well, the ankle tap, because there's contact with the boots, and it's a penalty. Like, it's a deserved penalty call. If we're seeing what is being called so far in La Liga and the calls that have gone favorably for some teams, then I don't see any reason why we should question or doubt this penalty call when it was a penalty called by the books. Like I said, it's the third penalty that Barca get called their way in 53 games. A penalty call was long overdue.
And how about the Budimir non-call at the end?
Yeah, that could have been a penalty.
How about Bellingham's three fouls in the box that didn't get called? Did you see those?
I saw Rudiger's handball not getting called, or Rudiger's red card not being shown.
No, I asked about the Bellingham ones.
Okay. Tell me about them.
Did you see them? Well, I can't. I need you to see them for this conversation to make sense.
I didn't go out of my way to see these on repeat. No.
Okay, so Bellingham was fouled 3 times in the box. 2 of them were for sure penalties. 1 of them was overturned by VAR. I can kind of get why. The other 2 should have been looked at and called. And also just Getafe, just shithousery all game. What's my point is that refs suck. Sometimes they suck for you. Sometimes they suck for Osasuna. Sometimes they suck for us. Sometimes they suck for Getafe. That's all. That's all I wanted to say.
Right, that you can say that, and then I'll say that there are also statements by people made where there is refereeing corruption take place that involves Real Madrid as well. And this is for his Medi. You can include that in whatever like little YouTube short you're going to pull out of this, because I just want more further explanation on what people in high-ranked positions say about this possible corruption that involves the entire government. Basically,
Illuminati. Don't forget Illuminati.
Of course,
yeah. Don't forget the aliens.
In investigating these cases further. You explain me that, and then we're all gravy, baby.
I don't need to explain that because there's nothing to explain.
I'm on board with what you're saying.
It's like asking me to explain the aliens. I can't explain anything.
But you acknowledge that it exists, that people are out there with claims, people that are hard to dismiss given their impressive track record or credentials.
Who, like Irutalde, who hates us and has an incredible track record of screwing us in the bum
you're talking about,
for years and years? That guy?
Iturralde, I'm talking about, for example, this Villarejo guy. He was like head of the ¿cómo se dice en inglés? Joder, the head of the Spanish police corps or whatever. The guy is head of the Spanish police corps, Spanish businessman that is making these kind of claims.
The Spanish police businessman is talking about referees.
The head of the Spanish police corps
is talking about referees.
What are you talking about? It's talking about an investigation in refereeing corruption that he was told to stop investigating.
Okay.
It's not me saying that. It's like, the funny thing is, like, you're looking at me like I'm making this up, completely pulling it out of my ass. These are people that are coming out making these kind of claims. What am I supposed to do with that, Kiyan? Just could keep turning a blind eye?
The same thing you do when someone comes and says, I've been abducted by aliens.
Okay. Well, what if that person, again, is a high-ranked army official, and not just one, but many, many, many are coming out in front of a U.S. Congress and making these kind of claims? Are you going to be...
Right. Show me the abduction. Show me the footage.
Are you going to
show me something that's not pixelated. Show me something real.
A little bit hard when it's completely being classified. Any investigation is being discouraged or has been hindered and prevented from taking place. It's a little bit hard, Kiyan. Some things are not that easily proven. Okay.
Well, I think if I think I need to see it.
I want to see it too. I want to see it too. And I said it, and I said this last time, and I will repeat it again. His Medi. I want to see it from all sides. And if Rubiales is holding back something that can incriminate Barca or that can shed light on potential refereeing corruption from one side or the other side, I want that stuff to come out. Absolutely.
If the day comes out and there's proof that Real Madrid paid referees or anything, I'll be the first person to say that was wrong. I'll say that.
Same here.
The most awkward virtual handshake. Listen, I have 5 minutes. We didn't talk about this. Sergio Ramos is back in La Liga. Did you see this?
Oh my God! Yeah. Well, did you mention Chimy Avila's goal? I just wanted to make an honorable mention because it started getting.
I don't know if that was the part where you stopped hearing me, but I was complaining that Chimy should have started that game.
Yeah. Chimmy's
You missed
got
that
a
whole
track.
monologue? Are you serious?
I missed it. Oh yes,
Oh my
yes. I'm
God.
terrible.
No, I was complaining because teams go into they look at the schedule, they see Barca on the schedule, they're like, well, that's an L. So let's rest our best players, give them the 3 points. We'll throw in Chimy at the end, see if he can do something. He did something. He should have been starting. Same with Budimir. The guy is a freak in the air beating crosses. He should have been there.
Budimir's been doing it for a long time. Talk about Liga. Well, yeah, Chimy, and he did it. He did it last year as well, didn't he? He's got a. It's Chimy, man. I mean, it's one of the reason why he's one of my favorite players. And I'm happy to see him back, recovered from his injury as well. I was surprised he didn't start. I was happy he didn't start, and but also a little bit happy when he scored just a fantastic goal. People criticize. I think it's Koundé that is trying to follow him, or no, it's Balde, and behind him there's Koundé and Christensen that they don't close him down enough. I have a feeling that in the cases of Koundé and Christensen, they don't want to close him down because they're kind of awaiting a pass to Budimir, right? They want to make sure that they keep the center of the box sort of covered. But I think, really, in honesty, it's just a fantastic goal. Sure, Balde could have closed them down more. Okay, defensively, there is room for improvement, but take nothing away from just a great Chimy goal.
Koundé's had a good season, by the way. Overall, I think. Ramos back to Sevilla.
Yes, Ramos. Yes.
I like.
What do we make of that?
I'm a fan of it.
Okay.
Childhood club, obviously. Beats the alternative of going to Saudi. It just feels right.
Good for who?
What do you mean? It's good for everybody. Good for the league. Good for Sevilla. Good for him.
Is it? I mean, what? Like, what's good about it? I mean, what? Ramos.
What do you mean? What's good about it? What's bad about it?
I mean, I guess from a marketing perspective, I mean, do you think you're going to get much production from Ramos for Sevilla, who are dead last in the league? I mean, is it?
Yes.
I guess they need a Ramos. I mean, yeah, you're still impressed with him. I don't know. I'm asking.
Are you kidding me? He's
here.
still a good player. He would start for Barca.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, but he would start for Sevilla. He's comfortably better than Loic Bade. I think that's how you say his name. Did you not watch that PSG Bayern game last season? He was their best player upon elimination.
Sure.
We're back.
We're back.
But that was I feel like I haven't watched them consistently enough for Ligue 1 to be like, oh yeah, what a addition for Sevilla on the off Champions League night. You know,
I think Ramos starts.
Not easy to be you don't need. It doesn't take much for a player, especially with his pedigree and experience in the Champions League, to be motivated on that night where he was good. But I mean, I guess Sevilla need all the help they can get. I'm thinking that Ramos would have enjoyed a juicy offer from the East and gone there if he had one.
Obviously, he has some. He has a bit of an ethical code. It's nice to see.
I don't think he got an offer, dude. Is what I'm trying to say.
There's no way he did not have the choice to go to MLS
He
or
didn't
Saudi.
get
Are
an
you
offer.
kidding me? He's Sergio freaking
What
Ramos,
offers
man.
What offers were there? I'm just
Well,
saying.
I don't know.
What
I'm not his
teams-
agent. I don't know. I'm not
It
Rene Ramos.
these things would have been leaked in the press. There would have been like, oh, you know, Galaxy or Miami or
Diego, there's no way that Sergio freaking Ramos did not have the option to play wherever the hell he wanted to outside of Europe. No way. You don't think he could go to Inter Miami right now and start? LA Galaxy. I don't think
he got an offer from Inter. I don't know.
I don't know what offers he got or not, but I know there's no way he wouldn't have had
As
that
if a
choice.
Ramos wouldn't like living it up.
Dude,
in Miami or-
Romelu Lukaku got an offer from Saudi.
Lukaku's great.
If he can get an
Lukaku
offer, we can get an offer.
Lukaku
and
should have
so-
been
so
wearing
can
your
Sergio
number 9.
Ramos.
Lukaku should have been wearing your number 9, and you know it.
I'm
You'd
glad
be loving
Jose
it,
Lu, I'm
Lukaku.
glad
You'd be loving your.
Jose Lu proved you wrong, though. Put some respect on his name.
You'll be loving yourself with some Lukaku right now, dressed in white.
No, I don't think so. I'd rather have Jose Lu than Lukaku.
Yeah, I love it, man. Dude, all these... What's happened with Faith? Is he donated 95% of his money? Or his salary? Like, honestly, has anybody
if Rodrigo
called him out on that?
If Rodrigo Faez donates 95% of his salary, I will donate 95% of my salary. That's how confident I am. He's not going to donate 95% of his salary.
I am not going to do that.
There's no way he's going to do that. No,
but I want to... If any listener has seen him mention that, because he came out, repeatedly and said, no, I'm going to... And now what? All these people that were claiming good times for Hamaji in the striker position and Mbappe coming. What happened with all those people? Now they're saying, of course.
But there was no one credible who reported it. No one.
No?
No.
I'm thinking. Obviously Chiringuito, and we don't want to...
No, credible.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody.
No Fabrizio, you mean? You're right.
How many posters of Fabrizio do you have in your room?
So now what? It is really funny though, man. You guys doing your therapy sessions and shit. I laughed my ass off over that little.
I'm glad our
inspirational Braveheart moment where you're like, "Come on, guys, it's gonna be okay. We spent 100+ million. We got Bellingham. Listen, you guys got a great player in that. Give credit though, man. I mean, you guys spent how much this summer? Like 160 and all together?
I guess like 150, 160. I'd have to look at 70.
I mean, Barca spent 3.5 million.
Unreal. It's your lowest spending summer since what, 90 or 2005? It's a long time. I can't remember what year that I saw a stat. Bro, I gotta go.
Yeah, it's insane.
I have to run.
And I was just gonna list the players that we got for 3.5. I mean,
you signed a lot of players without spending money.
A lot of players.
Yeah.
And of course, we're still waiting for Victor Roque, which that be added on to those 3.4 million. But great work. I know there are many that continue to criticize Laporta. I think he's doing great work given the circumstances. Bellingham is your number 9. You guys are fine. You don't need therapy sessions, for crying out loud. But for the amusement of people like me, keep it up. Kiyan, have a good afternoon, my friend. Thanks, Medi, have at it, Haas. Be kind on me. And we love you all, listeners.
Peace out. Oh, peace. Catch us for a Raw episode, patreon.com/Churros y Tácticas.
And follow us on social media. That means more than just Twitter. We on Insta. We on TikTok. The show don't stop. So follow us on our new social media accounts.
Also check us out on onlyfans.com/churros. But only open that link
just
when you're home
churros.
alone. Yeah, actually,
no tácticas
that sounds like a terrifying link. I don't know what that is.
I need all the money I can get, Kiyan. I am... Desperate times call for desperate measures. So go to our OnlyFans page, please.
All right. Check us out, guys. Thank you. Take care. Peace.
Bye-bye.